Let's review the LEGO Star Wars 2023 Coruscant Guard Gunship, selling for $250 Australian dollars or $140 US dollars. To compare, the gunship is $215 if you convert US to Australian, so LEGO mark up the set $35 more in Australia. The question is this set still worth the markup? We'll be comparing the size of the build to other cheaper LEGO Star Wars set builds, so stick around to the end of the video. The Coruscant Guard Gunship appears only in a few episodes of the Clone Wars animated series. It is a very unique gunship with an awesome red design, but let's see if it translates well and accurately into LEGO. This set is numbered 75354 for ages 9+ with 1083 pieces, including 5 figures. The box art is a little boring but accurate on Coruscant, with Padme shown off on the top and a snippet of the gunship on the side, along with play features on the back. Opening up the set, you'll find bags numbered 1 to 10, and a case for the stickers and instructions so that they don't get bent. The instruction manual's front cover is a boring render of the set with a scannable QR code for insider points, and at the back, some other sets released in the wave. Let's get into it. Starting off with the figures, the set has a great selection and the figures do complement the build well. All of these 5 characters are wanted by LEGO fans, but it all comes down to the execution of these figures. The Palpatine surprised me. This is a completely unique version and it looks incredible, with amazing printing all over, very continuous from torso to his dress piece, which does have printing on the back. He has 2 awesome face prints that capture Palpatine so well. He has a recolor of the Joker's hairpiece, which I think works really well and is a funny little Easter egg, because Palpatine is crazy and evil like the Joker. Moving on, we have Padme, who is a decent figure, although she is wearing her Season 1 outfit, even though the Coruscant Guard Gunship is from Season 6 where she wears a different outfit. She has no leg printing or arm printing, and the face print is a reuse of Jyn Erso's double-sided print, which is pulled from LEGO. She does have a unique silver blaster, which I think is great. Safe to say this Clone Wars Padme figure is better than the last. Commander Fox. As a clone commander, this figure definitely had the potential to be the highlight of this set, much like Commander Cody in the ATTE. But this figure just does not deliver. Starting at the legs, you have the awful printed waist cape. No side leg printing, it just cuts off and looks bad. Moving up the figure, you have a red hue on the inaccurate torso, and no arm printing. But that's common with Star Wars figures. No unique head print, which I love with clones. And finally, the helmet. The visor is too big, and the helmet line at the top is way too thin. On the bright side, this figure does have cool but bulky blasters. A very sad turnout for this figure, although this will still probably draw on consumers who want a Commander Fox figure, no matter the quality. Finally, you get 2 Coruscant Guard or Shock Trooper clone minifigures in this set, and this is the first time we've seen them for 8 years. These figures hit every mark, with an amazing print all around. I really love those wide hips, except the helmet holes are a massive takeaway, and is the only area the previous Shock Trooper has leverage over the latest. Other than that, an amazing figure and definitely superior to the Commander Fox. And those are the 5 figures. I think this is a solid selection and great for play. Although no antagonist, Palpatine can take that role. My favourites of the 5 have got to be Palpatine and the Shock Troopers, with Padme and Commander Fox being the lowlights. Let's move on to the build. Getting into the build, going from front to back with aesthetics, at the front you have this incredible sideways building technique used to achieve this satisfying front section of the gunship. Moving up we have the double cockpit area, which is clipped in strongly to achieve the perfect angle. The set is very sturdy. Despite there being a handle, I find holding it from the bottom or even wings works surprisingly well. And yes, the build is very swooshable. Near the back we have the main doors to the gunship, or rather door. The build has gotten a lot of flack for the single inaccurate door, restricting access to the cabin, but honestly I don't mind it that much. The only thing I dislike about the doors are these transparent tile pieces that can move around and look bad. The door and front compartment panel look great. I love the bit of grey greebling on the front panel, although the top part of this set beneath the wings looks very brick built and blocky. This set does have accurate sticker detail which adds a lot, although printed pieces will always be preferred. If you look from the back at the wings, you can get a better idea of how the wings are connected with Technic. At the back you have this nice tile piece clipped in with one of the shield pieces we also see in the latest Clone Trooper and Droid Battle Pack. At the bottom of the set we have just tiles, nothing too fancy. Both the right and left sides of the set are symmetrical, which usually makes for a bland building experience, but I wouldn't say the build is repetitive. I thought the building experience was adequate. Up the top we have amazing brick-built turrets, built on top of the wings very strongly. At the very top of the build there is a gap where on previous gunships we've had flick-fire missiles. On this set there's just a black void. There is no transparent blue or orange colour for the thrust on the build, which doesn't bother me. You can fit a Shock Trooper figure in each of the cockpits, and yes, regular Shock Troopers can fly gunships, as we see in shows like The Mandalorian. LEGO gives you the perfect amount of Shock Troopers in this set, so you're able to have both Shock Troopers flying the gunship, unlike in previous gunships that didn't have enough clones. One small problem with opening the bubbles to access the cockpit is you can't open the back cockpit area if the front one is open. you have to open the back cockpit first, which is fine. Just a small inconvenience. With both shock troopers flying the gunship, it does have an awesome look. Inside the cockpits, you have printed control panels and 2 studs for the figures to be connected down onto. The front of the set has bubble turrets, which can move around easily and won't be detaching, a problem in previous gunships, because of this clip piece. That is, unless you're really rough with them. Underneath the cockpit, you have a hatch which opens into this small area. There was a lot of potential for LEGO to add something cool in this area, like a clone command station, although LEGO questionably chose to leave this area empty. I decided to get creative and made this small speeder bike. A big hassle was getting it small enough to fit inside the compartment, because the area inside is really small, but I think I made it work. It's swishable and looks decent. In order to fit it inside, you have to push the front part of the speeder inwards. Let me know what you think of this speeder in the comments. To open up the cabin area, there's this grey Technic piece you can pull back to open the cabin door. The fact that there's one door does limit access to the cabin, but the bigger issue is the actual room in the cabin. For starters, the figure headroom is tiny, making it difficult to place in figures. If you place them too close to the outside of the gunship, the doors will push the figures over. The handle pokes into the cabin. A great way to show off the headroom in the gunship is with the Kaminoan Torn Wii minifigure. She came in the Obi-Wan's Jedi Starfighter set. She barely fits into the cabin. This highlights the reduction in size of the Coruscant gunship compared to previous Republic gunships. In the end, the figures fit in the cabin, and with all the figures in there, it gets the job done. Coming back to the handle, it works well and helps to handle the set. On the wings, you have 2 stud shooters where bubble turrets should have been. Whilst this is inaccurate, I don't mind it too much. When you look at them from the top, they look shocking, but from the side on, you have this round look achieved from parts placed underneath, which kind of looks like a bubble, which I'm content with. These stud shooters shoot off as normal. Great for play. Moving to the back, you have these cabinets which have room for the shock trooper pilot's weapons and extra studs for the stud shooters. At the very back, you have this movable turret, connected with ball joints that works perfectly. Finally, at the back, you can move down this back panel, which doesn't really do much. This does not give further access to the cabin. Now let's compare the build side by side to other sets. Starting off with the 332nd Swamp Speeder, the gunship makes it look quite small. Next to Obi-Wan Kenobi Starfighter, the gunship doesn't hold up too well. Funnily enough, these sets share features like the dark red colour and bubble pieces for the cockpit. Up next is the Obi-Wan vs Darth Vader duel, which is quite sizable. Here's the Republic fighter tank, the 501st turret, and finally the 501st AT-RT, which, due to its poles, is taller than the gunship. And if you want to see what the set looks like next to the AT-TE, subscribe to watch a Versus set review coming out soon. Overall, this set is super unique and a great concept. The figure selection is overall superb, but the execution of Commander Fox is horrible. I'm in love with the aesthetic of the build, but it certainly has some flaws that, in the end, add up. I'd wait for this set to go on sale before buying it, especially if you live in Australia where the set is $20 more expensive than it is in other areas. Let me know what your opinion of the set is in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.